And of course, you're tuned into Anika's Rock Station, Solid 100.9 FM. And if you're listening right now, you're welcome to the program Your Heart, My Heart. Remember that this is a weekly broadcast on matters of the heart about relationship, courtship, marriage, and marital relationship between a man and woman. What we do here is we share, discuss, and answer questions on topical issues affecting relationship and marriage. But most importantly, as far as the issues go, we also are trying to teach God's principles about marriage, prefer solutions to marital problems plaguing the society, and to assist young people in making the right decision about relationship and marriage. And every Tuesday we are honored to always have Reverend Dr. Chiksroni and Reverend Dr. Olachi Chiksroni right here with us. They are marriage counselors of over 20 years standing. They also host a quarterly couples program tagged It Takes Two, and an online relationship program When Love Sets In, targeting singles. And of course, Your Heart, My Heart, for married people, for single people, for everyone, teaching God's principles about marriage. Like I said, with me in the studio, we have Reverend Dr. Chiksroni and Reverend Dr. Olachi Chiksroni. Good evening, good to have you, ma'am. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, listeners.
All right, good to have you. And I remember last week we looked at the topic: can a lady assist her prospective spouse to pay her dowry? And we did have a lot of people who came with different angles, and we did talk about it, and it was an interesting discourse. Perhaps you don't have enough clarity on that issue and you can actually send us a message when we open up the talk lines for that, so that you can get more insights to what we talked about last week. But tonight's topic of discourse is deception. The question will be, if you discover you are deceived, should you stay in the relationship or marriage? Deception. If you discover you were deceived, should you stay in that relationship or marriage? And trying to liken it to what is happening in the 21st century and what we see every single day. We have people who are married to people who they don't really know. They don't really know these people, and sometimes people tell you, because of love, because of the children, because of one factor or the other, you should remain in such marriage. So it's very important that we're having this discussion also, so people listening to us can actually understand what would you say is deception in a relationship, because a lot of people can't seem to define what deception is when it comes to love and relationship.
Thank you once again. Good evening to our listeners. This is a very topical issue, and because a lot of people have come to us with similar challenges when they find themselves in a dilemma. Deception in a relationship is when a relationship is founded on lies or half-truths, when you conceal certain things about yourself or your spouse, and then keep leading the person on. You're actually deceiving the person. To a reasonable extent, some marriages that are existing now ought not to be. They are actually existing, they are actually supposed to be in nullity. Those marriages are supposed to be annulled because it was instituted on deception. So in law, they could say that it's non-existent because the foundations under which it was established was under falsehood. So under falsehood, that means you're not who you say you are, and under those false pretenses, you get hooked up with a lady or a gentleman if it's a lady that is in the deception. And at the end of the day, you get to find out the hard way later when the marriage has become consummated, or perhaps children have been involved over the years.
Exactly. And deception could come in different ways. At times you see married men pretending to be single just to lure a lady into sexual activity, And also you see married women, pretending to be single in order to just have their way or have some material things from a man. So it could come in different angles depending.
All right. I mean, what you were just talking about are the different types of deception.
Yes.
Okay. So, would you like to talk about more lies? Because I had a conversation with someone. Most times when these topics come, I try to talk to people and see where they're coming from. So the questions were around lie of omission. You know how we have different
like
lies.
about your age or something.
Exactly, and you just say, you know what? Well, I didn't think it was going to be a problem, so you omit a certain information. Now, when it comes to deception, what would you say are those things you don't omit, or when it comes to relationship? Because now, from the angle of deception, it can be looked as deceptive when you try to hold back on certain information that you ordinarily should have given out, and a lot of people blur that line because they tell you that, oh, I don't think this is supposed to be important. I don't think that is important. That's why I didn't tell you. Not because I wanted to lie to you, not because I wanted to omit it, but that I didn't think it was going to be much of a problem. Hence, you get lie of omission.
Look at the way we look at it. At the onset of the relationship, we say you don't speak your issues to somebody who is not in a position to help you. So from the onset of the relationship, you may withhold certain information. But once you see that relationship is headed somewhere, that's the point in time you want to be open. You open up about the person wants, I want to know you. So whatever it is, like when my husband and I, we are cutting. So one of the days he took me out. We are living in Lagos then. So he took me out.
You must say everything.
Mama, please say it. We're listening.
I'm
Please
trying to
it.
help some people.
Yes.
Really. So he said he took me out to, is it Chicken George there?
Yeah, Chicken George.
Or Tantalizer. I don't remember which one now. So we bought soft drinks and some snacks, and we sat and he said, I want you to shock me. I was starting at him, in confusion. So if you know that thing that I will hear from somewhere else and I will be shocked after we've married, tell it to me now. In fact, we were there talking until almost 11 in the night. And
12,
the good thing was that it was closer to my door. They were now telling us they wanted to close, that we ought to go because we opened up to each other because we already knew we were headed somewhere. Everything, like he said, shocked me, and I actually did shock him about my family, about my background, so I couldn't. It was a no-holds-barred sort of conversation. But people, when you see that somebody has gotten serious with you, he wants it to end in marriage, you continue to lead the person on holding something.
Yeah.
It's deception because you're doing it deliberately. You can no longer pretend that you didn't. Some like ladies are usually accused of lying about their age, especially when they find out that they're older than the person. So they feel, let me hold back. By the time we reach the point of no return, they cannot do anything about it again. Some even get married. That's why they hide some of their documents, their birth certificates, their registration of birth, all those things that will give away information about yourself. Some also lie about their educational status. That's also what some people will claim to be graduates when they are not, or they claim to have gone to school when they didn't go. Or the part of the men, sometimes they lie about their means, their financial status.
Exactly.
Because I remember a point in time when my husband's cousin wanted to marry, and then the house where we were living, he was telling the lady that's his house.
Oh wow!
And then they will come.
That's a lie.
Yes, they will bring her to the house, and our wedding pictures are all over in the living room. And you're sitting. I think what he told her was that we were the ones squatting with him. That we are looking for a house. That we soon get a house and we'll move. He continued with that until they actually did traditional wedding. I was planning for the proper wedding, and the lady was feeling that something is not fit here. Come on, how come these people are living like it's their house and they are straight? How can they be dominating your house? You know, those kind of things. Some who do illicit businesses, of course, wouldn't tell their spouses to be what they do, because all these armed robbers and 419ers have wives. They got married. So if some of them wouldn't have, because they know what they're doing is not right, so they won't be open about it. And then so many of these things where you conceal information that your spouse ought to know. So when you marry that person, you marry the person under deception.
And also, let me help here. Maybe you have a baby at home, you know, you try to conceal it and you know, say, yeah, mommy, you know, this is so rampant, you know, it's both sides, both men and women, they conceal this a lot. And somebody you have gotten so serious with, just like my wife said, that at that particular time, open up. There was this lady I want to marry and she took it and this and that and that and that happened, this and that. If she is really your wife or if he's meant to be your husband, nothing will push him or her away. You know, she'll still be there. But when an idea you want to cover up things, you want to do this, you want to do that. We once had a couple I was to join in marriage, you know, and I said, who gives away the bride in marriage? And the father steps out, you know, and then came up with the lady and a young man, very small, a boy of no, not up to 15, between 12 and 14, yeah, walked up, you know, to the altar. And I was looking at the young boy. A man is holding the lady already, so what is this one coming to do? So I called my sister and said, please, can you find out what this young boy is here? And the young boy said, it's my father. I said, fine, it's your father. And so what happened? And the mother now walked up also, you know. Then I asked the young man, do you know this boy? He said, yes. He said, how managed? What happened? And he narrated a small thing, which you remember he has told us also before then. And then I asked, I said, please, can you take them? Because there were two of them that I was to join in marriage. I said, please take this young man away. Then after we'll talk about it. And that was, and the young man said he came as if he knew what was going to happen. He came to the wedding with receipts of school fees that has been paying for the boy, money I've been sending to the mother for the boy's upkeep, and everything. Came with everything. And we saw the whole thing. He said, look, yes, there was a mistake. You took him, but you don't have the character for marriage. I can't marry you. If I marry you, I will die young. So, okay, we have made a mistake. I acknowledge that he's my son, and I will take care of him till he finishes university. But to marry you as a wife, I cannot. Oh, wow. And we realize that. So at the end of the day, we still have to go ahead and...
Remember you asked the wife to be, are you aware?
I asked yes. The wife to be. And you are aware of this. She said she's aware. I said,
that you had already told her everything.
Exactly.
They are willing to take on the boy.
The boy
and
so
other than instance, the wedding can go ahead.
Now, before I get to the Bible, because I mean, this program is based on God's principles about marriage and relationship, I have two questions, and one of them is, I've seen some cases where people open up. People say they want to be serious. People say, you know what, I want to get married to you. And just like that question you asked mommy, shock me. I've seen that. A lot of people who say shock me cannot actually entertain the shock. A lot of people, they say tell me the truth, but they can't handle it. And you see sometimes people have to hold these things. They say maybe when you get married to me, at least I'm yours, you can't throw me away, which is the excuse a lot of people keep. So now when it comes to singles, what exactly can you say? How exactly can you advise them onto, there's something someone was telling me the other day, there's something like too much information. You don't get to say everything. But now, you know, as a young lady, you know, you meet someone, you pray about the person is serious, you guys start talking to your families, and one of these days he calls you and says, shock me, or tell me the truth. And you now notice that he cannot handle it. And at that point, some people try to hold back because they don't know what their intended spouse, can actually handle or not. So how do you advise young ladies or young men to deal with such issue?
Okay, you know, before you tell a lady shock me, you must have prepared yourself. And you don't just come because maybe I see this lady A and I want to, you know, marry this immediately. You must have been observing her. You must have been looking at her, and you must have made up your mind that I just want to settle down with this person. Now you are not ready to take whatever she's willing to take. If you love that person and you say shock me, like when I told her shock me, I was ready to take, I have developed the shock absorber. to take whatever she can tell me. But if somebody says shock me and you are not ready, I say, I had this baby in my house. Hey! Yeah?
A lot of people get heartbroken like that.
You don't do that type of thing. You must be ready to take whatever the person is saying, analyze it within yourself, not to go and discuss with your friends. Because definitely your friends will finish you. If you open up any little thing, or maybe I made this mistake, or I took in and this and that, they will finish you.
Well, the excuse people give is, I'm worried, I'm bothered, I was just shocked, and I need to talk to someone about these issues.
No. If you say it's your wife to be, you can take whatever all you need to do is to go to God. I said, Lord, you told me this, I should go ahead. Look at what I'm hearing. What do I do?
The issue again is this. All of those things you're hearing are in the past.
They're in the past.
They are part of somebody's past. And you're on to a new life with someone. So why should you hold it against the person? Everyone has made mistakes in life one way or the other. So the person's case should not be different.
Exactly.
That's the way we see it, and that's the way we advise. And also we advise young ladies, just we are asking, don't fall foolishly in love. We tell them, falling in love and you want to get married is not about going to, what's the name of the joints they go to?
Crunches.
I don't want to advertise for anybody. It's a radio station. Going to all the fast food and all, going to movies and restaurants and all of that. Once you're doing that, be interested in the person's background. Look at how does a man, if he's a lady, watch out for how he treats women.
Exactly.
How does he look down on, does he talk down on them? When he's with his siblings, how does he relate with them? Take a trip to the family house. How does he relate with the family? One day, unannounced, go visit.
Exactly.
Look at the kind of interplay, family relationship that they have. What does he display? What is his temperament like? Are you discovering things that you're ready to take? Exactly. But all these kind of relationships contracted in the cities, you meet the person under a few months or weeks, you're head over heels in love. You don't want to hear any other thing, sound advice. You don't know where the person comes from, whether it's even a spirit or a human being. So get to know the person properly beyond those outings that you go. What kind of person is it? You remember the lady in church one day, the guy said he wanted to marry her, and then they were in courtship, and every time you invite her out, she's a student, she has finished school, she had served, and she's not yet working. And then you take her out, and when she's going home, you lead her to the bus and you tell her bye-bye. No transport money, you don't know what.
That's another topic we will discuss.
and the lady is just without any money at all.
She said one of the days, in fact, she got to her bus stop and she pleaded with the conductor, insulted her. It's not a man that led you to you. That's how foolish you people are. A man led you out, and then you don't have money, and then you're throwing yourself at him without knowing the circumstance. So she came to us for counsel. Of course, eventually that relationship broke up because she just couldn't understand what kind of. Even if you're trying to test the person, will you test to the point of transport money? At that time, transport was 20 naira. That was when we came newly to Enugu.
And the lady was just fresh from school.
And then sometimes she will once we enter the bus, once she tells the please, I don't have money, they will sort her and drop her there, and then she will trek home. That's not fair.
Just a little bit, I don't mean to digress, but this is a very important point because I know that a lot of young people are also listening to us. When it comes to this transport thing, it has been a line of conversation for a while. A lot of people are saying, okay, so I meet you, we start hanging out, we start going out, we're in courtship. When do you start giving transport? Because some people feel like a lot of ladies are entitled to, because we are in courtship, you should give me money, you should be responsible for a certain part of my life. So I need to understand, I need you people to help us understand what it entails, because now you gave the story of this young lady who was fresh from school, didn't have any money coming from anywhere. But the guy in question did not have the ability, didn't have the discernment to say, oh, okay, this lady would need X amount, or perhaps he was stingy. And
that was stinginess.
No, not only that, what stops you say, do you have transport money?
Ask, even
just ask. And let her say, no, I don't have, or I have. You say, okay, how much do you have? Even if she says, I have, give something. Give something.
Love without money.
Ladies are
cannot be
meant for
sweet.
gifts.
I didn't get to say that again.
No, you should be able. You see, one thing ladies love a lot is gifts. You understand? Even if you are married and everything, and you went to work, you're coming back, even if it's 10 naira cake, buy for your wife.
There needs to be a special course on this, sir. Because this generation doesn't know this.
Ladies love gifts. So just give, even if she have transport money, give her. Say, okay, hold this in case. It will help her a lot.
Like
And
I said,
help you too.
like I said, this generation is not really aware of this, and I feel like gentlemen, when they talk to the young men coming up, if you're a young man out there, these are words to live by. These are words to take home with you, because they will actually help you in your relationships. Okay. All right. The second question before we go to the Bible is I saw a story somewhere, and I'll just read a summary of it with regards to what we're talking about, and it says, Emeka and his wife Ada have been in a supposedly rented duplex for the past 10 years. He just recently discovered for the past 10 years the house that he had been living in belonged to his wife, and they had been paying rent to an agent. And normal yearly increases and the money goes to Ada. What would you do if you were in Emeka's shoes? Now, this is a pure example of people who are already married. They've been married for 10 years. They've been staying in a certain duplex for 10 years. And Ada did not tell Emeka that the house...
The duplex they are living belongs to Ada.
Exactly.
And Ada have been collecting rent on their duplex without Emeka's knowledge. The thing there is, did Emeka actually find out that the duplex belongs to Ada?
He found out 10
found
years
out.
later.
Now,
But he was feeling like it's deception.
It is.
Of course,
not
it's deception.
It is deception.
It is deception.
And again, there is a caveat to some of these things. Sometimes the kind of attitude a man gives you helps you to determine whether to what extent you can open up. Actually, we were actually contemplating about finances in marriage, but we said we just got off. Can a lady help them? So
And
let's
the
not go
in-laws,
into
so
finance.
let's not go to another.
So you just practice a topic for another day, but it's causing a lot of issues in home. And a lot of ladies have complained that once their husband see money in their hand, they will not rest until that money finishes. That's not fair.
I think this one is it's just like somebody that wrote school certificate exam. We have A1, this one is deception A1. How can you be collecting money from your husband?
Then what was she doing with the money?
And the man will be under heart attack. How do I pay this rent? This rent is coming to this landlord will now throw out away this and that. And you are there watching, and you are the landlord. And you're watching this man going.
Struggle.
You're watching this man acting away.
That's not fair.
No, this is...
The worst case scenario, if she didn't want him to know for whatever reasons, they could have rented a house somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
They let her rent her house and be collecting her rent, whatever. But, this kind of thing, we will never know the full import of the story.
Yeah.
So to be able to
Side.
give a balance, because it's only from one side that we right. So,
Okay.
go ahead.
With regards to a story like this, we've also had calls on one of our relationship programs where the man called in to say that his wife earns salary, which is taking me also to finances. I can't wait for us to talk about this. His wife earns more than he does. Okay, let's project that his wife earns, let's say 500,000 and he earns 70,000. And in that 70,000, the wife will expect him to pay house rent. She will expect him to pay the children's school fees. And recently he got to find out how much the wife was earning. But not a lot of women will come and tell you, why shouldn't my husband know how much I'm earning?
Why shouldn't he know?
Why shouldn't he know?
I mean, people will say that's not a form of deception.
Whatever anybody brings into a home belongs to the family.
This is why we tell people that are married, you need to understudy yourself very well. And if you say you are going to marry Sister B, you should be able to tell her everything she needs to know about you. She should be able to tell you everything you need to know about him. The money that comes into a home does not belong to anybody. It belongs to the family. If the wife says, please, can we do something for my dad or my mom, this and that and that? It's is your in-laws. You should be able to take care of them. You understand? You should be, if you love your wife, you should be able to take care of her parents. The same way, if your wife loves you, she should be able to take care of your own parents. Let me not go into that.
I love the way you're going to. You can actually go on, because the beautiful thing about this program, Your Heart, My Heart, is it's healing a lot of homes, and a lot of people are learning every single day.
Let me tell you something on this. No, I didn't want us to go into finance because that we are,
just a little
digressing to.
Yeah.
My wife here, she was the one that reminded me. See, Mama is getting old. Why don't we place Mama on salary? Instead of waiting anytime we will travel home so that we give her what will, how will she be coping on it? I say you have a very good idea. And we did that. We placed Mama on salary for every month. And how do we send the money? I send it to my sister who is very close to her. So every month we pay that money into the account. She will withdraw the money and take it to Mama. And this woman was keeping this money. Storing money. She became the what do they call it? Those people that distribute things, other women, they need this thing, they will come to her, and she was giving them, and we are not. So anytime we are traveling home, we can go home without anything, because we know we have taken care of her. All that we can go is maybe beverages and some other things we know that maybe she can now store for this. And that was how we took care of that area for a very long time. Both sides.
That's really beautiful. Alright, at this point, if you're just joining us, this is Your Heart, My Heart, and this is a relationship program. It's a weekly relationship program that stems on matters of the heart. We get to talk about relationship, courtship, marriage, and marital relationship between a man and a woman. We share, discuss, and answer questions on topical issues affecting relationship and marriage. But most importantly, this program is based on God's principles about marriage, and also provide solutions to marital problems, pledging to society and assisting young people in making the right decisions about marriage. Now, someone will ask the question saying, what does God say about keeping secrets from your spouse? Is it good to keep secrets from your spouse? What does the Bible say about privacy in marriage? What does the Bible says about keeping things private? Is it okay to hide things from your partner? I think that is the next question I would love to ask with regards to the Bible. But if you're just joining us, we'll soon be opening up the talk line. So keep your questions. Just prepare yourselves, as we'll be opening up the talk lines very soon. But in the meantime, you can actually send a text message to 0705079 Start sending your text messages. 0705079 So we're going back to the question: what does God say about keeping secrets from your spouse?
It's very explicit in Genesis. In Genesis 1:24 and 27, and they were both naked, the man and the wife, and they were not ashamed. So that scripture sort of sums up everything. Nakedness and not ashamed. You should be able to open up to your spouse without feeling that he or she will judge you, or he or she will condemn you. That is the essence of that prescription by God in the scripture. Naked and not ashamed. So you should get to a point whereby you can open up. I'm just imagining, what is it under the heaven that I can't discuss with my husband? Even when I make mistakes, by the time I come back, I already know where he's going to condemn me. But it doesn't stop me from telling him this is what I first start by saying I goofed today. Look at every little detail about how I went wrong. I already knew. So if he starts, scolding me, I wouldn't feel bad. I already knew I did wrong. But when I hear some people, how they keep secrets from each other, and I wonder how they are coping, I can't cope if I have any skeleton in my cupboard. I don't know how people are able to do it. Maybe they will educate us so that we will know.
Yes, you are right. I don't know why men should be keeping secrets and why women should be keeping secrets. But you will not also take it away from, there are some women that their mouths are acid. You understand? When they get angry, they will even use the same thing you have told them to finish you. They will call you all manner of names. Are you a human being? That was why this happened, that happened, that was this, that was... Yeah, no. And this is what this man have, told you that, as one of his secrets. And that's why a lot of people go to, a lot of people die with their secrets. They go to grave with things in their hearts without telling somebody this is this, without confessing about it, because they don't want their wife to finish them. They are already finished, so they don't want their wife to bury them.
Is it peculiar only to women?
I mean, you can also say
And
that.
also, you can also,
so
there are men, yeah, I know. There are men also like that are more even terrible than women, They will talk and talk and talk and talk, and so no. You shouldn't keep secrets. You should share it. That's your wife, is your friend, is everything to you. She should be able to know who is your friend and who is your enemy and everything like that. And not packaging, no.
All right, we need to go for a quick break. Remember, the program is Your Heart, My Heart, a relationship program that talks about heart, relationship, marriage, courtship, and of course, we always have our marriage counselors of over 20 years, Reverend Dr. Chuks Ronnie and Reverend Dr. Olachi Chuks Ronnie, and they are here to answer all your questions. So we need to take a quick break, and when we come back, more on Your Heart, My Heart. Do stick around. Welcome once again to Your Heart, My Heart. It is a weekly broadcast on matters of the heart. We get to talk about relationship, courtship, marriage, and marital relationship between a man and a woman. But all this is based on God's principles about marriage to prefer solutions to marital problems plaguing the society and to assist young people in making the right decision. My name is Jumai Balama. You can also call me Jujuma. And with me in the studio, of course, we have Reverend Dr. Chuks Ronnie and Reverend Dr. Olachi Chuks Ronnie, and they are marriage counselors of over 20 years standing. They have a relationship program, couples program tagged It Takes Two. They also host an online relationship program, and they also have another one tagged When Love Sets In, targeting singles, and of course yours truly, Your Heart, My Heart, for married people and even the single people. So don't feel left out if you're single and you're not married. Tonight's topic of discuss has been deception, right? Deception. If you discover you were deceived, should you stay in the relationship or marriage? And that is all that we've been talking about. We'll just talk a little bit more about this and open up the talk lines. I already got the message here. Thanks to everyone sending messages. Remember, the phone line to send your text message to is 070 5079 109 070 5079 109. And now going back to the topic of discuss for tonight, deception. I'm a single lady, and I'm sure that a lot of people would want to avoid the heartbreak and the heartache of going into a marriage filled with deception. So the question will be, just like I say, prevention is better than cure. How exactly do you know, or how exactly can you spot someone who is deceptive, or someone that you're suspecting, probably lies a lot, and that can be a form of deception? How can you spot this?
Some of these things they're always better when you use certain practical examples. So I will borrow from mine. When I was in the university, there was this guy that wanted to have a relationship with me. I wasn't born again then, though. And then he was coming on to me with all this kind of silver spoon disposition. And someone that is talking like a silver spoon is always broke. And then you don't see the telltale signs. So one day I really got First, I had gotten to know the families in Enugu. I studied in the University of Nigeria in Sukasa. The family lives in Enugu. One day, just like you talked about shocking somebody, and then in the course of having conversation, you had mentioned where they live. So on my own, I took a trip to the house. I said, coming to the house today will tell me really who you are. And I actually liked him as a person, but I didn't understand all these lies and stories. And in my mind, I was wondering, why can't you be yourself? So immediately I came to their house. I didn't need a soothsayer to tell me that. And when he saw me, felt like the floor should open and swallow him. So I'm sure he must be saying, she would be wondering now, where are all those kind of stories he was telling me, my driver is coming to pick me, this, that. So actually the point is, when things don't fit, they don't fit. And the irony is that something keeps telling you that something is not right somewhere. Why do you keep dismissing it when your spirit is telling you this is not right? Why don't you explore it further? Get to find out actually the truth. And that goes back to what I said earlier. Know the person. The Bible tells us, know no man after the flesh. So don't just know the person for all the enticing situations and the butterflies in your stomach and all. That's not love. That's not relationship. Go a step further. What are those things that you like in a relationship? Are they being made manifest? What are, like when I met my husband, he had a list of the qualities he wanted.
Stop using me. That's
a beautiful story. We're enjoying it. It's a beautiful story.
Of the qualities.
You're giving the world my secret.
That's why there's nothing to, like this story I'm sharing now, he already knows it. And that's why I can talk about it freely. You know, when people come and concede something, try to pretend they are who they are not, it doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah,
he had a list of the qualities he wanted in a woman, and he showed it to me when we met, after we had gotten into courtship. And I said, do I meet the criteria? I said, of course, I wouldn't be speaking with you if you didn't meet those criteria that I wanted. You know, so when you see the, I remember when we were about to wed, I took him to meet one of my uncles in Lagos then. And then on his own, he was telling me from his own layman's knowledge that if you have 10 qualities that are important to you in a relationship, and then you meet somebody who has the one that is the most important to you, and he doesn't have the rest, and then you meet someone who has 9 that are neither here nor there, and that single one that is so important to you, the person doesn't have it, which one will you go for? I told him I would go for the one that has the single most important thing. So he now asked me, so this one you brought, what was the single most important thing? I said, a man that fears God. That was my number 1. So, and you could see that genuinely the person loves God and fears God. Every other thing you can manage under, you know. But when you're seeing the telltale sign that something is not right, you're hoping against so that it's going to get better. She will change, they will change.
You know, you also know that, you know, as young men growing up, you know, and there's this lady so pretty, so wonderful, they want to, you know, have a relationship.
Impress, yeah.
And that's when this, you know who I am? Hey man, my mother this, my daddy that, you know, I take breakfast in London, my lunch is in UK, you know, all those
Some
things.
people actually fall for those things.
But you see, the issue is this. When you realize that the relationship is getting deeper and there's no way you can get out of it, and actually you love this lady and you want to settle down with this place, just take her out, say, Mommy, let me tell you the truth. Exactly. Mommy, let me tell you the truth. Oh. My dad, Napa, wine tapper. My mom, they sell ogri for markets. But you know, as a young man, I must make it. You laugh over it, you know, and that is it. That's the fault. You laugh over it. If she wants to leave you because your mom says so great the market, okay. If she wants to leave you because your dad is a pan wine tapper, after all, my wine tappers are building story buildings in the villages and all that. Let him go. But the issue is that just call her, correct that impression. You know, I use this bubble just to make sure that I get close to you because I don't know how to have watched and watched. I don't know how to come closer. But the issue is that I have to lie. So I just want you to forgive me and let me tell you the truth. As you see me, you don't see me. And that is the thing.
I mean, this is really funny. All right, 2 things before we take messages keep coming, and we need to take calls. The first thing is, what would you do if you find yourself in a situation as a young person? You've tried opening up to a person you're in courtship with, and at the end of the day, the person reacts in a certain way. You now regret opening your mouth, saying certain things, right? And the person now says, you know what? I really want to get married to you. So I can't handle most of these things you're telling me. So I would advise that you don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. It's in the past. Let's leave it in the past and let's move on to the future. Would you say that that is a healthy way of dealing with such issue?
That's the person's role. There are some people who don't have shock absorbance.
Yeah.
There are some people who are flustered by a little information. So it depends on your makeup as an individual. And there are people who are actual shock absorbers.
Yeah, who are like that.
So if you know that you can't take some, and you find out, so even in actual marital situation, you'll be shocked that in somebody, so a situation happens that is the man that goes bananas. And the lady is intact, she's taking charge, she's trying to that's the person's makeup. It doesn't make the person any less of a human or of a man. It's just that's how the person is wired. If you're okay with it, all fine and good. Exactly. I don't see anything wrong with that stuff.
Yes, for me, I don't see anything wrong about that. Let's depart, go depart.
All right, lastly, before we take calls, there was a series, a documentary on, it's called The Tinder Swindler. So what happens is that this guy will go on social media. Let's even talk about let's talk about Christian dating through social media, right? But through this question. So the guy will go on social media, meet certain ladies, and when he does meet them, he will come off as wealthy. I mean, there was one of the ladies he picked with a private jet to a certain country for lunch. One of the first times, and they were just talking, I think that was the first time she met him, and she did go. And after a while, he would ask you for money. And based on the fact that you have seen a certain amount of wealth, so you'll be wondering that this one this person is asking for, it's not even up to, you know, what I've seen. So you're sure that there's probably the money. People have different styles. Of course. There's probably the money. So would you say that young ladies also need to beware of greed? Because some people will say that you meeting someone you don't know the person well, and the person flies you or buys you expensive things, and you now assume to yourself that this person is wealthy, instead of really finding out. Would you say that to some extent that some people fall for deception based on greed?
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people. And it's not just a fairy tale. A lot of young men, they want to go and pick a lady there, you know, trying to see if it can work out. They go and hire a car. They go and borrow a car. You know, and they borrow this car, they will use it anyhow, and the lady will just, you wouldn't even know that it's a borrowed car. You will carry your leg and throw on the dashboard. Just put your two legs on the dashboard, and the young man will be driving. If you even see the owner of the car, just give it a sign. To relax, just say, I will discuss with you. No, you see, you fall into I thank God for the type of woman I married. Those things you're not, because by the time I proposed to her, I had this kind terrible 504 that if I'm moving on the road and you come closer to that 504, you will take your clothes to the tailor. At times I will be on the highway, the bonnet will open and cover my windscreen. I still has, you understand. You see,
I used to carry jerrycan of water.
I used to carry jerrycan. No, I didn't ask you to talk. Let's forget about it. It was in the past,
Alright, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was in the past. But now it's better now. So, people should be careful what they are getting into. The type of thing the guy that is coming is bringing in on board, You see the guy on this type of car, white car today, the following morning another car, this and that. And the next morning you come and say, please, I don't know, I forgot my this thing. Can you give me 10,000 naira?
They do it all. I didn't come with my card.
Because you have seen the type of car he's using, Then you're just like what you said. When you know how much it costs to fuel a jet, you should know that 100,000 naira is a chicken money. You definitely, and you give that money, the guy will go.
A lady came to me recently for counseling on the same. She was married and then lost her husband so early. She had just one child when the husband died. Then she was confiding in me that this guy, that in fact, I actually came to her shop to buy something.
Yeah.
I don't know what convinced people see me somehow. Maybe
They open up.
the glory just comes across and they start opening up to me. So, and then she started talking to me. Look at, I don't know if I can. I said, go ahead. And I told her, don't worry, I'm a pastor. Is it about relationship? She said, yeah, I'm a pastor, I'm a marriage counselor. Go ahead. So she said that this guy that is her friend, but that he keeps asking her for money. And then he said he wants to marry her. The other time he said he wanted to pay for his house. And then the rent is not complete. And then he needed 60,000 to complete the rent. She gave him. Then he came again, asked for 40. That's how I said, okay, all of this money, has he ever returned anyone? She said, I said, it's not serious, he's just trying to use you. He believes because you already have a child of 2 years, and then you also want to
settle down again.
So if he leads you on, then you're ready to say, run as fast as your legs can carry you. I'm telling you from deep understanding that the guy is just deceiving you. If he comes again, tell him that you don't, this relationship cannot go, or ask him to refund you the one he has borrowed. You see, he will both, and that was how the thing fizzled, that he never came back. So that's how he would have been milking and milking her. When he gets enough, he will both, and she was
ladies really need to be careful about relationship. A lot of ladies have sent young men abroad
with understanding that
they are going to marry. And the young man will be there and send a test. So if they told you that after being here, I will come back to marry somebody like you, you will agree. Don't worry, I will send back your money. I have seen that. We have seen that almost about 4 or 5 times. People should be careful and know that what they are going into and how to handle it.
Alright, at this point we need to open up the talk line. The conversation is always interesting on Your Heart, My Heart. I tend to learn a lot, and I'm sure that you do also, and laugh a lot too. Feel free to call us on the numbers 09097711009 or 09023111009. You can also send a text message, send a WhatsApp message, or call 0705079 109. You guys are not waiting. You're roadside calling, and we'll take your calls. Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Chris.
Good to have you, Mr. Chris. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Your topic tonight is very interesting. I'm enjoying the program. Seriously.
Thank you.
So my regards to the guests in the house. Beautiful and wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Mr.
so,
Chris.
Yeah, my thinking is, why don't we go back to law and speak about this funeral thing that we're just deceiving ourselves, like material things? Why can't just love somebody for doing this just because of material things? I think that's what will help us to really do.
Hello, Mr. Chris, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is what I'm talking about. Just the point.
All right.
God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. And remember, we're still taking calls 09097711009 or 09023111009. You can also send a text message, send a WhatsApp message, or call 07050791009. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Benjamin. I'm calling from Scotland.
Good to have you, Benjamin. Go ahead.
I really enjoy your program. I think it's you know, sometimes you criticize the man, you go to the Israel, supporting that to get what
Okay.
So, if we are talking about issues of all these things, that it's also vice versa. It's also the girls that treating the boys, that's the same with the boys that treating the girls.
Exactly.
But Benjamin, can you hear me?
That's my thought.
If you have been listening, you will notice that we tried to balance the equation.
Exactly.
We'll talk about the men and we'll also talk about the women also. But thank you for your contribution. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling. Remember 0909771 or 0902311 You can also send a text message, send a WhatsApp message, or call 0705079 Every time I try to take a message, a call comes in, but we'll take it. Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Yeah, hello.
Good evening, our first lady. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Monica. I'm coming from Nigeria.
Your name is what?
Monica.
Okay, Monica. Good to have you, Monica.
Monica.
Modesta.
Modesta. I apologize, Modesta. Good to have you. Go ahead.
What I'm thinking there is that, some men, they do both. They can say they are what they know that they are not. But some of us girls, we need to do mistakes by not watch what we are going into before entering into it. Because you see classic car or you see what expensive they wear. Some of them used to hire car in order to get what they want. Once they get that thing they want, they just stop. Like some of us are girls, not even mind, they know their mind is about that money. Without knowing where the money is coming from. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Modesta. Thank you so much. I love the fact that people are contributing, but we also like to get questions. If you do have an issue and perhaps you want to remain anonymous and you need Reverend Dr. Trix Ronnie and Reverend Dr. Olachi Ronnie to, help you with that, they're here to listen to your problems, all right? Hello, good evening, and welcome. We did fine. Good evening, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you, sir. Go ahead. Welcome.
Women stop doing material money. Now, we stop behaving as if they want the happy.
So it's women that is causing men to lie that they have money. Are you trying to say that it's women that's actually making men lie about that?
They don't have anything. They have money. They will not like it.
Mm.
So, yes, even though you have a thorough love for them, you don't have money. Yeah, they need to help you for those who have money. Even though it's a criminal. They won't work. That's the issue. That's why it's men now. You want to have the judge on anything. Make them to say that they have money. Why they don't have it?
Well, that's bad. That's actually what we're trying to preach.
I'm talking about everybody should make their way.
Okay.
And in their way, they need us go to speak. It's not love. You understand?
All right.
You know that the money is not good. Money is good, but let us have it in our level. You must have money before you do it. You must have it before you get it. This is late game. People are late game. You can't put us into people. Put us into what they say. You can't put us into security.
All right.
They want the money. They want the money.
Okay.
The person will go and go off of the evil and
All right.
idea and they will come and present themselves. Well, they're not like that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Everybody, what you mean and women, let us behave as we are.
All right.
Show how we are. Truthful enough. That is not the bad thing for radio.
Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. We're also taking calls. All right, we have this one. Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What is your name, and where are you calling us from?
My name is The Giant. I'm calling from New York.
Your name is what? Sorry.
The Giant.
The Giant. Oh, good to have you, The Giant. Very lovely name right there. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Mm.
Actually, there's someone I met on Facebook. So we just organized for some time now. We've been talking and I've told her my intention. I thought it would go higher in the relationship, but it's not coming from. It's like I will think about it, and at that time, anytime I go through that relationship, you smartly judge. Then I don't really know how to go about it. So if I should continue with her or I should just go with it.
Okay, the
Because now,
giant. I need to understand. You said you met a girl on Facebook, and that you asked the girl to be in a relationship with you, and she's been saying she will think about it, right?
yes, yes.
Okay, and now you're asking. You don't know how to go about it. You don't know. You've been waiting for a while. You don't know if to let it go or still wait for her answer.
Actually, she's serious with it or she just wants to play along.
Okay. All right. Keep listening. Your question will be answered. You know, this question takes me to what I want to talk about a Christian relationship on social media platforms. A lot of people are saying that social media may not be the best place. Some people are for it. So, what do you think? Does Christianity or does the Bible, allow for meeting your spouse on a social media platform? And of course, you also answered the giant question.
The first thing to say is that as at the Bible times, we didn't have the internet. So there was no provision for that. But anybody can actually meet somebody anywhere. There is always a starting point.
Exactly.
Perhaps the gentleman, the giant saw the lady, saw her photograph and he liked her. But it wouldn't be nice to just start a relationship based on somebody you've seen on Facebook, unless if you're chatting, you're simply typing. You can write, words are cheap. You can actually type anything. It's when you begin to have a conversation, some of the questions you ask, talk about life generally, the way the person is responding shows this person, I can have a conversation with her. Then from there you go on to other things, maybe know where she lives, does she live in the same town as you? And because of what has happened in the past, some men lure ladies via social media. They visited, like the incident in Lagos. The guy was gang raped and killed and all of that. So if the guy, they don't live on the same town, he should be the one that will make the first move. Because she must have seen his picture, so she knows him. If you're serious, go look out for her in her town. You can't be asking her out on Facebook. What do you want her to tell you? She doesn't know you from anywhere. She doesn't know what you do and all of that. Unless people have talked about all those things. But if it gets to the point of meeting, you do the moving. Don't ask the lady to come and see you.
And how are you
A
sure?
well brought up and decent girl will not respond to you.
Exactly. And how are you sure it's actually the picture you're saying is the same person that you are communicating with?
So when you get to
People have posted a lot of
A
things
lot
that
of
are
things.
not who they are.
Who they are.
And when you try to prove more, they just
the
delete
blackout, yes.
and blank out.
All right, we have more calls. Let's take it. Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Gabriel. I am calling from the Soto minority local government area.
Good to have you, Gabriel. Go ahead.
Good evening to the guests. The 11 to remain on the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I want to talk to a person who called before the last caller.
About love.
We have the young lady be careful of the internet posters.
Exactly.
You see somebody in a Facebook, you don't make thorough inquiry, and you enter into relationship, especially in terms of courtship that leads to marriage. You have to be very, very careful. And generally, I'm speaking to young ladies and young men, those who are not married, the spinsters and the bachelors. They should be careful on what they see on social media, on what they download and do in internet. Well, this digital technology is very, very useful.
Exactly.
But the abuse or misuse of it becomes very, very dangerous.
Okay.
I want to call it on parents that they should be careful and also monitor the movement of their children.
All right.
Both in internet and also outside the internet. Let them know so that their children know about it. And let the peer group to be very careful as well. Thank you and good night.
Thank you so much, sir,
Sure.
for calling. We appreciate you. And I think at this point, I will take a few messages. We have some messages. And yes, let's take the messages. Hopefully, a call. We can actually take that. Oh wow, we have a call. I need to take that call. All right. If you're listening to us, remember 09097711009. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Good evening. Hello, good evening. We'll need you to speak up so we can hear you a lot better.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you a lot better. Good evening. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Steve Benjamin calling from Cross River. I
Alright.
want to ask you this.
Go ahead, Benjamin.
Okay. I have a friend. Even though I know that my friend is so ugly, the real friend has been asking the girl out for quite some time now. So the girl has been talking money from me because he don't really reply what I'm requesting for a problem. I've been talking to the girl and she has not been responding. Can you advise me on what to do?
Advise you on what you say. You have a friend who is in a relationship, right?
He's not in the
He's been asking the
Oh, he's been
girl
asking the
out.
girl out.
Well, the girl has been
He has been
extorting money from him, but she's not giving him.
Okay.
The girl is extorting money from him.
Oh, all right.
To accept it, the proposal has come through.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Keep listening. Your question will be answered.
Okay. For the guy, I just wonder why people will start a relationship on that note.
It's all
The fact that the lady started by asking him for money the first time, the second time, the time he keeps giving and she's not responding
Yes.
to him. There's no relationship.
Exactly.
And there's nobody. She will stop wasting his money and his time. She just let her go and let her. The person that will see him and like him or love him for who he is will come around. So I don't know why we kill ourselves over that. The handwriting is on the wall that she's not interested in the relationship. She just wants the money and because he's doling it out, so she keeps asking and she keeps getting. So she
And what does it take to answer, to say yes or no? We can go out, we cannot go out.
She
What
just
does
wants
it
to
take?
keep delaying it and
Yes,
getting
so
the
that
money
she will
she
be
wants.
collecting money and solving her problem. Just stop that.
All right, and we have more messages, and remember that we're also taking calls also, and right now we'll take messages. Okay, so this is a question of some sort. I'm sorry to people calling in. I need to pause the calls for a little bit and let's attend to those who are actually sending messages. So this one goes, or I'm trying to get the messages coming through. Remember, keep the messages coming, 07050791109. This message goes, if you ask your wife to maintain a joint account and she refuses while both of you are civil servants, and the man's salary is higher, what do you do? Okay, yes, it's the same question. If you ask your wife to maintain a joint account and she refuses while both of you are civil servants and the man's salary is higher, what do you do? That is the question we have here. I mean, that's what the person is asking.
A joint account.
The woman is saying no, but his salary is higher.
And the man's salary is higher.
I don't think it's actually about whether it's high or not. So it could be, being a woman, I can just try to see where she's coming from or try to understand how she's working. A lot of times there are so many requirements that women carry, which if they keep asking the man for, they may not be able to meet up. For instance, what it takes a woman to maintain herself is different from what a man. Women like changing clothes. They like buying they see something that they like, they like looking good. And in that instance, they spend a lot more money on that. Secondly, their family, which sometimes they don't like to bother their husbands about. So they want to be able to have enough money so that when there is any need in the family where she comes from, she can also take care of it. Perhaps she had asked for some things in the past, and the man have questioned why she needed that. But what we usually encourage is, don't insist on it if joint account will not work for you. But if you know you will work for you, be able to be open to each other. Not each time one person goes to take money, it becomes an issue. So
I hope we discuss this more during the time we're talking about. But what I would say in this case is like just like my wife said, for a woman, women, they are in a lot of meetings and they go out a lot, for social activities and all those things. They have to do as should be. They have to change their hair. Maybe she will do hair this week, and next week she have to do another time because there's another Ashobi get together, and all those. She have to do her nails and all those things, and always going to the same account to take money. The man will be wondering, come, I use 200 naira to cut my hair, and it takes me for 1 month. So how much kind of hair are you doing, and that is costing so much and all those things. Then problem have started. So in this type of situation, if the woman says no, just allow her.
Okay.
Allow her, but that does not mean that maybe if there are some things you want her to take care of, she will not take care of it.
It's when she begins to refuse to do something.
That's when
that's when there is a problem.
There's a problem.
But if you can work for them to have a joint account, unless the joint account is for a specific purpose, whereby you bring something, she brings something. It doesn't have to be the whole salary. So you can be bringing, since your own is high, you can be bringing 30, she can be bringing 20. People can call it a rent account or a school fees account or whatever account, then it can work.
All right, let's take this call. Hello, good evening and welcome.
Once again, and that's Gabriel and calling from Isuko, my non is a local government area.
All right, so you have 30 seconds. We have messages we need to address.
Yes, I have to talk on the issue of the joint account between husband and wife. This joint account issue has been a controversial issue between the two couples, and it takes God's grace and understanding of each of them before they can they can open up a joint account, because each of the couple, sometimes they are afraid of themselves. They don't open up. And the other one will be suspecting the other one, and the other one will be suspecting the other one. Take 1, wisdom; 2, knowledge; 3, understanding to have a joint account within the couple. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. We appreciate you. Now we need to go back to the messages. This one says, hi, my name is Sonia. I have a boyfriend, but there's this guy I met 2 days ago, and I'm already in love with him. He's a football player, and I don't really trust him yet, but I love him. He told me a lot about himself, and I told him that I have a boyfriend. But when I asked him if he had a girlfriend, he said no, that he doesn't find himself loving any other girl, saying that they are bad. But if he sees the girl that does what he wants without him telling her, he also mentioned to me that he's sexually attracted to me. I don't know what to do. He's handsome though. I don't know if he's trying to deceive me. She needs your advice.
First thing to say to this kind of lady is for her to realize that she's not in love.
Exactly.
She's simply infatuated.
Exactly.
You don't see somebody and just fall in love.
Immediately.
Love is not. There is a general agape that God wants each and every one of us to demonstrate towards our fellow human beings. But in terms of being in love with the guy has already made himself clear to her. So it's a matter of, if that's the kind of thing you want to, go ahead. But what are you going to tell your supposed boyfriend? That you saw another man, you jumped ship and went? It's not like that. So what did she see in the footballer? Maybe because
he's handsome.
And tomorrow she may see a musician also who is more handsome. And now abandon the footballer.
So please, I don't think the footballer has the intent of being serious with her.
Exactly.
So she should just let him. If she wants to admire him, I admire him and let him be. But maintain your relationship with him.
Alright, this is the last call we'll take, and we'll take one more message before we say our goodbyes. Hello, good evening. And welcome. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Well, I'm calling from.
Your name is what?
My name is Maxwell.
Okay.
Calling from Independent.
Good to have you, Maxwell. Go ahead.
Okay. I thank the guests in the studio there. They are perfectly okay. So I have a question. The question is this: can an uncle or a friend go extra mile to spoil somebody's marriage by going to Marabu house? And if yes, what can the person do to come out of the mess? Thank you.
Sorry, we need to understand your question once again. Can you repeat yourself, please?
Yeah, my question is this: can a friend or an uncle go extra mile to disturb somebody's marriage by going to Marabu house?
What's Malabo House?
Extra
What?
mile friend.
Is it like to a native doctor?
Yes,
Okay.
something like that. And if yes, what can the person do to come out of that mess? Thank you.
All right, Maxwell. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you.
When this type of questions come, there is usually a lot more to it than what is said on air. I think maybe when you share our contact,
yeah.
you can call us so that we can talk a bit more.
Vicky.
So what's the interest
an
of the
uncle going to
going an extra mile to the native? What is his interest in the
in
marriage?
this marriage? Yes,
Uh-huh.
and why that particular lady that we make the uncle to go to a native doctor to do
Doesn't
something
want
so
to
that
hear.
it will,
So we need to
it will
hear
not-
more.
Yeah, we need to hear more.
before we can offer an advice. So
Alright.
let him call
And
us.
he's asking for how can he get out of it?
Yeah.
All right. This one says, "Good evening. My sister got married last year December to a man she thought she knew. After the traditional wedding, she relocated to where he got an apartment for her. The guy doesn't stay in Nigeria. Recently, my sister went to visit one of her husband's cousin and was chatting with the wife of her husband's cousin. The woman didn't know when she said that my sister is the third wife the guy is getting married to, and that his other wife has a daughter for him who is 5 years old. Secondly, he lied about his age. He's 53 and lied to my sister he's 39. Please, I need your advice. What should she do? Should she leave the marriage based on deception or stay and
Suffer.
It's just the same thing we said earlier. There is a nullity. That marriage doesn't exist anywhere because it's based on falsehood. And I actually want to use this opportunity to advise all these ladies that jump out. Somebody is overseas. We travel overseas all the time. We see Nigerians. We know what they do there. We know how they live. A lot of them left here because of
They think that they can get money on the streets
hardship,
of
yeah. So
US.
things are not as well as it. And when they go there, they do arranged marriages, pay somebody to marry, and some of them sometimes when they marry them, they don't want to leave them anymore, and they begin to have children. When they come back here, they should be man enough to open up and tell the lady, "This is what I'm in," and to just get married and get rented an apartment for the parents or the siblings will be checking on you from time to time. You don't get to see him. Only talk over them. What kind of marriage
What kind
is
of
that?
marriage?
So they should probe more before they agree. Because when they come in here and change a few dollars or a few pounds, money is everywhere. I think money is plucked from there. A lot of them are carrying cards in supermarkets overseas. There are very few of them who are actually doing, and there must be those who have papers or who schooled there or who are citizens and all of that. But for somebody to
No, and another thing is this. I don't understand this. The idea of all these ladies, getting married and they rent a house for them here, and people are checking on them, the brothers to the husband, and this. And meanwhile, this guy is married there. We've had a lot of them like that.
So
They are
many.
married to Black Americans, and these people, the way they love Nigerians is something else. They
So
say
they
that
don't want to let go.
Nigerians
That's
know
why
how
they
to
find
take
it.
care of women. So they don't want to have anything to do with Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, just Nigeria. But the issue is this. Your husband married you, kept you in a flat here. For 2 years you have not seen him.
I said
And
it
you
was
people
last
keep-
year.
You
Last December. that
last
they got
December.
married.
And now you have heard that you are the third wife.
That marriage doesn't exist. She should just get out
You
before
should
it's
just
too
get
late.
out. It's deception. And you are not aware that he has been married. The man did not tell you are married before, that I even have a child.
And he also lied about his 50.
And lied at 50
54
something, and you are
39.
saying 39.
There's a
Minus
whole wide
50.
gap.
54 minus 39, I know the difference.
All right, at this point, I'm so sorry. I wish we could continue. You can actually go to Family Revival Ministry, Old Product Compound of Presidential Road, Independence Layout. Family Revival Ministry, Old Proda Road of Presidential Road, Independence Layout. Their counseling days are Tuesdays 9 to 1 p.m., Wednesdays 10 to 1 p.m. on appointment. Special thanks to Reverend Dr. Chiksroni and Reverend Dr. Olachi Chiksroni for coming. We appreciate you, and at this point we need to say our goodbyes. Thanks to everyone who called in. We appreciate you, Mr. Gabriel, Benjamin, Modesta, Wigwe, Maxwell, every single person who called. We love and appreciate you. Your Heart More Heart comes your way every Tuesday from 9:30 to 10:30. Special thanks to everyone you covered. My name remains Jumai Bulama. Bye for now.